2025. Members of the public are invited to attend in-person meetings in council chambers. Public access is also available by telephone by using the call-in numbers posted on the meeting agenda, and tonight's meeting will be broadcast on the city's YouTube channel online. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Leidy.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lukman Hiramasa. Here. Councilmember Burns will be absent. Councilmember Jaramillo.
Here.
Councilmember Kondo.
Here.
Councilmember Roper.
Here.
Councilmember Goff.
Here.
Councilmember Nowicki.
Here.
Councilmember Walker.
Here.
Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Manager Guyer, are there any responses to resident inquiry?
I do have one item for Mayor and Council this evening. I'm going to ask Chief May to come forward and report out on fireworks enforcement for 4th of July. Before he starts, I do want to add one perspective, and that is that I rode, many of you know that I did a ride along the evening of 4th of July, 7:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. Fantastic experience. I am really proud of the work that the police department has done in fireworks enforcement. I do know that we did receive some complaints. I can attest firsthand to the level of professionalism and respect, patience that our officers provided in all their interactions with fireworks enforcement. One of the things that the North Glen Police Department did this year, different from other years, they deployed a drone differently, and I'll let Chief talk about that. But I can tell you, during the ride-along, I not only heard the calls for service coming through on the radio, but I also heard Sergeant Moreau dispatching to officers, the fireworks enforcement teams, the locations for illegal fireworks usage. That work was strategic and brilliant. In terms of being responsive to the complaints that we receive from residents year after year about illegal fireworks use. So I want to extend my kudos to our staff, as well as all of the staff that worked hard to keep all of our residents safe at the 4th of July Festival and throughout that weekend. Chief?
Mayor, Council, good evening. So I will actually send out the actual numbers of calls for service, what types of calls for service, the exact amount of tickets. We still have some coming in. But as of Friday, we had 20 fireworks citations that were issued that night. We did have 2 fireworks teams that were out in the areas, and we used the drone. It was a little different from last year. Last year, we were trying to use the drone to gain evidence and try to assign, those residents. And they had like 12 or 13 residents that they had to do, but the follow-up and everything else, it was just super challenging. And at the end of the day, we were only able to get like 2 or 3 summonses through the courts on that, how that approach last year. This year, we used the drone as a first responder. So they would, once the calls were coming in, they were getting to those areas. Again, when you're in the air moving across stuff, it gets there a little quicker. So they were able to identify that. They were able to, just as City Manager stated, the Sergeant Josh Moreau, was able to dispatch, those locations, give descriptions, give address, all of that. And that was a huge benefit. So next year, maybe we could use that same tactic, put out maybe 2 drones, to expedite some of those things. But again, that's a night on average. It's pretty similar year after year, but over 200 plus calls for service that night. But I'll get you the exact numbers of what that night looked like. The park was, the fantastic. Everybody said that, except for I don't know about a couple of my guys in the paddle boats. But they were engaging with the community and everything else. But I was very thankful. We had a very safe North Glen event. Again, all city staff provided just an incredible event that night. So, but I'll get that information out to you guys. Do you have any questions or concerns about?
I just had a clarifying question. So you said 20 just on the 4th? Were there tickets issued?
Double check that.
Okay.
Again, not all the summonses, so we're still going through some of our Brazos and some of those tickets to make sure all those were in. We require, when you write a fireworks, you have to write an incident report as well. So, and once those are uploaded, that's when it's calculated.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure we don't have any outstanding there. But
Okay.
I'll try to get all that out to you this week.
Okay. Councilmember Kondo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chief, you used the term drone as a first responder, so does this mean that the drones actually flew out of line of sight of the controller, or did you still have to have a
Correct.
controller?
So we launched the drone from the Justice Center, and we were in Fox Run. We were at the Northwest Open Space. So we were all over, that. So again, I think that's just how it worked. It was absolutely fantastic. So again, we'll refine it even more. We have other agencies. When I told them what we were doing, they want to come and copycat our idea because they're getting the same complaints that we have, right? All the fireworks complaints and everything. I don't know if you guys saw the news article that was in the news where they're talking about the number of people or complaints and those actually tickets that were written. They said that Douglas County was the largest ticket writer with 6. And I'm like, they didn't call us. So, so we're out there and we're trying to, because we know it's a concern for a lot of residents in our community. So we're getting better at that enforcement part of it. I know our firefighter friends that can agree that's not a fun night, especially with all the the fires and everything else that come from it. So I can tell you, my officers really appreciate their de-escalation training. We had some residents that were pretty heated. And my officers, I look at that video and I was like, how would I have handled that 20 years ago? They handled it a lot better than I would have handled it, for sure. But again, it's a busy night. One day I'll love 4th of July again, but, that's after my retirement. But that's it. Any other questions? We
Thank
good?
you. I don't think so.
All
Thank
right,
you
thank
very
you.
much. Anything else, City Manager Guyer?
No, thank you, Mayor and Council.
Okay. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Nope, there never seem to be, but we ask. All right, public invited to be heard. This is an opportunity for public comment on any item not set for public hearing. Statements are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Statements must be related to city business and limited to matters of community interest. City Clerk Small, is anyone signed up tonight?
Yes, Madam Mayor, there are 2 individuals on the list. The first one is Tom Lampo.
Welcome. Please state your name and address or ward and provide your comments to council.
Thank you very much. Hello to everyone. Hello to North Glen. I'm Tom Lampo, 3951 Jackson Way. I'm here to lift up North Glen to the Lord in prayer, so please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, in Jesus' name, we invite you here to North Glen to be our God. No one approaches your greatness. No one can match your compassion or your wisdom. Isaiah 49:15 says, "For the mountains may depart and the hills be removed, but my steadfast love shall not depart from you, and my covenant of peace shall not be removed, says the Lord, who has compassion on you." We can put our trust in those words and in you. Your love for us never ceases. Apart from you, the change we experience in our lives and in our society is constant. We might think we have it figured out, but it only lasts for a short while. But what you offer us is steadfast and true. We can always count on you. Time is moving quickly. Before we know it, November will be here and elections will again be upon us. Philippians 2:13 states, "For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose." Holy Spirit, work in the lives of the people and touch those who will run in the elections. Prepare their hearts for the work in front of them. Guide their thoughts and their actions. Fulfill your good purpose in our city. Father, a lot of tragedy surrounds us. We have wildfires, gun deaths, floods in Texas and New Mexico, tropical storms, and recently, as a society, we lost 2 firefighters to a senseless act of violence. We lift up all those to you who have been affected by these tragedies and ask that your comfort and guidance be with them at this time. And here in North Glen, we lift up to you all our first responders. They have very difficult jobs. Isaiah 41:10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Give our first responders your presence, strength, and support. In times of doubt and fear, assure them that you are with them wherever they go. You are our God, and we are your people. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. Have a nice night.
Okay.
The next individual on the list is Richard Miller.
Okay. Welcome. Hi.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for permitting me to speak, but I'm here on behalf of the North Metro Fire Rescue Department to first of all, thank you very much for offering this proclamation in regard to an amazing man that you'll be speaking about tonight in a few minutes. But we actually have two folks that just retired as of basically their last committee meetings or sessions were today at 5:20 in order to get here at 6 o'clock. But Chief Dave Anderson is in the audience, back 39 years, and his walk-off is tomorrow morning. And of course, Chief Dave Ramos is who you are going to recognize tonight. But we do thank you for that, and we thank you for your efforts in recognizing this very valuable community resource. The other thing I'd comment on is that I'm not sure everyone is aware, I bet you are, but I'm going to comment on it anyway, that this last month, the North Metro Fire Rescue Board voted on positions within the board, and Rich Kondo from your council was unanimously elected as president. And Rich has only been on the board for 2 years, but as you know, he's a pretty amazing fellow, and he doesn't seem to ever run out of either the willpower or the opportunity to serve. So we are very pleased to see him as our board president for the next 2 years. So with that, I thank you again.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone on the phone who would like to speak to council? You can press *6 to unmute at this time. Is there anyone in the audience who did not have a chance to sign up that would like to speak to council tonight? Okay, not a problem. Okay, moving on. I would like to invite Eileen to come on up, a candidate for a position on our Historic Preservation Commission. Eileen, could you pronounce your last name for me?
Sure, it's Gigina.
Gigina.
Eileen Gigina.
All right, nice to meet you. So if you could introduce yourself, give us a little background, and why you were interested in serving in this way.
Sure. I have lived in North Glen for probably about 10 years in a variety of apartments, different houses, that sort of thing. I've got a husband and 2 little boys. They go to preschool at the rec center here. And there was a post on the website that said, we're looking for volunteers. And I thought I'd give back a little bit. My professional background is in museums. I am the collections manager and registrar at the Longmont Museum, just north of us. And there, I keep track of the historic artifacts that come in and out of the building. The collection is about 18,000 objects, and sometimes we have loans, or I send loans out, that sort of thing. So Historic Preservation Commission seemed like the best fit to tiptoe my way into volunteering. And I'm really excited about the historic properties and buildings within the city and recognizing what we have here, because sometimes this era can get overlooked, of early 60s and on. So yeah,
Okay, well, thank you. Does council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Roper?
Thank you so much for being here tonight. And Eileen was able to come and meet with the Historic Preservation Commission, and we already put her to work on some tasks, so she wanted to jump in right away. So thank you for putting your expertise to work for our community. Appreciate it.
a nice meeting.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say thank you so much for volunteering. We really depend on volunteers like yourself. Your background is really interesting. I almost chose anthropology once upon a time, so I thought that was really cool. So I don't have any questions unless you want to volunteer, like what is the coolest artifact you've ever had come through?
I've worked at a lot of museums in the Denver metro area. I've been able to do condition reports of Degas paintings before at the art museum. That was pretty cool. I personally love textiles. So the quilt collection at the Longmont Museum is my favorite at the moment. So there's always the possibility of more, for sure.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for volunteering. Look forward to seeing what you will do on the commission.
Yes, no further questions. I just want to say congratulations, and I think you're perfectly suited for this commission, and I think you're going to bring wonderful talent to the group, and they're a great group. So congratulations. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to invite council to join me. We have a proclamation and 2 presentations, so let's come on down front. Okay, so as was mentioned before, we have an awesome celebration. Chief, come on down. Bring any guest you would like. Any guest. Come on down. Oh, you're going to put him in the hot seat by himself? It's so good to see you. Good to see you. Come on, no, join us up here. We're going to say nice things about you for just a few minutes. Yeah, we were thrilled to offer this proclamation today. So here we go. Whereas Fire Chief David A., is it Ramos or Ramos? Ramos? Okay, thank you. People pronounce it differently. I didn't want to screw that up. We'll start again. Whereas Fire Chief David A. Ramos has served North Metro Fire District with distinction since 1984, rising through the ranks to become fire chief and dedicating over 40 years to public service. And whereas Chief Ramos has been a visible and engaged presence in the community, championing efforts to elevate firefighting, training, support community outreach, and expand mental health and wellness resources for first responders. And whereas Chief Ramos has been a driving force in regional innovation and collaboration, helping to establish a multi-agency 911 integration hub to improve response times and working with North Area Fire Departments to promote a united, strategic approach to public safety. And whereas his influence extended well beyond district boundaries through active participation with the North Area Fire Chiefs, Denver Metro Chiefs, State Fire Chiefs, Adams Jeffco Hazmat Authority, ADCOM 911 Board of Directors, and Adams County E911 Authority, and the Board of the Colorado Firefighter Heart and Cancer Benefits Trust. And whereas Chief Ramos was instrumental in achieving the district's first accreditation from the Commission on Fire Accreditation International, underscoring its commitment to continuous service improvement and excellence. And whereas he led key infrastructure improvements, including the remodeling of Fire Station 62 and the rebuilding of Fire Station 63 in the city of North Glen to ensure high-quality service delivery to the community. And whereas Chief Ramos' contributions reflect a holistic approach to fire service leadership, one that places equal value on safety, efficiency, and human connection. And whereas the city of North Glen recognizes and honors Chief Ramos for his exemplary service, visionary leadership, and contributions that will continue to benefit residents and the fire service profession for years to come. Now therefore, I, Meredith Leidy, Mayor of the City of North Glen, Colorado, on behalf of the North Glen City Council, do hereby proclaim our sincere gratitude and appreciation for Fire Chief David A. Ramus and wish him all the best in his retirement and future endeavors. Dated at North Glen, Colorado, this 14th day of July, 2025. So, yes, let's all stand up. Let's all stand up. He deserves it. So, yes, like really, lifetime achievement for sure. We said quite a few things, but you do have guests that may want to add. I know, Chief May, I'm going to put you on the spot because you have worked as a colleague. Do you have a few extra things to say?
What a sport by all the firefighting jokes I've had over the years. No, Dave, seems like, you started, before me, but.
I'm going to give you the mic.
I can tell you when I was on patrol and I would go over to the firehouses, boy, those guys can eat. It's like probably the best food in the city was at the fire station. And Dave was a part of that. And just growing up with you when you were working the road and we were working the road together, just an amazing person, getting to know you over the years and absolutely fantastic, buddy. I'm going to miss you. So thank you so much for everything that you've provided us. All right.
Anybody else? I mean, the floor is open. No? Okay. Well, I'm going to give the mic to you. What would you like to say? What are you doing next?
Well, first, thank you, council. Thank you, Mayor. And it's wonderful to see the city staff. I think one of the first things I'd like to say is, I had the pleasure when I first started working in North Glen. So it seems like I was always stationed at Station 2 or Station 3. Probably spent nearly 3/4 of my career in North Glen, the 25 years of the career that was spent online. Really enjoy serving this community. It's an amazing community. I love serving the whole entire district, but I've got a fondness in my heart for North Glen because I spent so much time here and really enjoyed that. I think Chief May called it out. For me, I love the relationships we've had as a fire department with the city of North Glen, and I really treasure those. It's been a pleasure serving with all of you. The same purpose out there protecting, making life better for our citizens. So that's been really enjoyable. So you asked a question, what's next?
doing
So,
next? Yeah.
so my wife Dana, who's here with me in the back, so we finally get to spend a little more time traveling, doing fun things together. We love hiking together, but we have 4 kids, 8 grandkids, and so that should consume a lot of our time. So we're looking forward to spending more time with them and doing some traveling. So yeah, that's kind of what's on the docket. So.
Okay. Well,
Thank
you
you.
will be missed. And thank you so much. We're going to have you stand in the front. We're going to take a picture.
I actually want you all to take a step that direction.
No, I'm just checking the lineup. I would have Catherine turn in just a smidge. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're good. I'm just.
Hold open your proclamation.
You can move this. Yeah. We have a new setup. So we're just making sure.
All right, is everybody ready? Smile, keep smiling, don't blink. Fire, fire. No, just kidding. All right.
I did. Thank you.
Did you get it? I did. Oh, no, I got it. Okay, all right.
Okay, coming up next, our Good Neighbor Awards. I'd like to invite our Public Communications Specialist, David Mullen, to present the Good Neighbor Awards.
Oh, you're gonna. First person, yeah.
that one just wouldn't stay, so I had to put it inside. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce some outstanding community members who make our city a better place to live and are the latest recipients of the Good Neighbor Award. For those unfamiliar with this award, it recognizes residents who positively impact our community, whether by shoveling a neighbor's driveway, assisting with projects, pet sitting, or simply just showing kindness to their neighbors. It provides a way for residents, business owners, and council members to honor and thank these exemplary individuals. Tonight, we'll be celebrating 12 residents whose ongoing efforts contribute to making our community a better place to live. Only two of the recipients, or three of the recipients are here this evening, but we'll still recognize everyone for their contributions. First, I'd like to introduce Steve Burns. His nominator, Bob Stump, wrote that Steve always takes care of his elderly, ill neighbor. He brings in his paper every single day and makes sure that everything is all right. He has other neighbors that he helps out as well. Steve is kind, caring, and goes above and beyond what it's like. He really makes North Glen shine. So Steve, if you wouldn't mind joining us up here. Yeah.
Two cameras, but look at mine. Everybody's cheese.
Next, I'll introduce Denise and Jim Clark, who are also in attendance this evening. Their nominators, Matt and Emmy Kalin, wrote, "We've had the pleasure of living next to Jim and Denise for the past 3 years, and we can confidently say that they are the true definition of outstanding neighbors. In all that time, we haven't had to shovel our driveway once. They take it upon themselves to do it for us and several other neighbors. Also, knowing we have a growing family, they've gone out of their way to help us in countless ways, such as walking our dog, watering our flowers when we're away, and keeping an eye out on our packages. Their generosity doesn't stop there either. From helping us haul and lay mulch in the backyard to moving rock in the rain, their willingness to lend a hand with hard work is unmatched. There are so many stories we could share about their kindness and constant support, but simply put, Jim and Denise are selfless, humble, and always show up for their community without ever asking for anything in return. They truly embody what it means to be a good neighbor." So Denise and Jim, if you wouldn't mind joining us up here.
Moving rock is already rough, but moving rock in the rain, very impressive. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, ready, smile, don't blink. All right, one of these should work. Thank you.
Next will be Brian and Noel Manzanares. Unfortunately, they weren't able to attend tonight due to work obligations, but their neighbor, the Andersons, wrote that this couple definitely deserves this award for all the help that they've given us. When they saw we were having physical limitations, Noel was texting to check up on us every day. Brian has shoveled the snow and mowed our front and backyard countless times. They have pulled weeds and taken trash receptacles to the curb to be picked up. As a senior couple, we are so thankful for everything they do for us. We couldn't ask for better neighbors. So thank you, Brian and Noel. Next up is Josh and Nicole Peters, who also couldn't be here this evening. But they did want me to pass along their thanks for the recognition to council. Their nominators, the McCains, wrote that Josh and Nicole are amazing neighbors. They have been so kind and helpful. After a snowstorm, they shoveled our walks. This spring, Josh paid to get our lawn aerated just because. They deserve the Good Neighbor Award because they are wonderful, loving, humble, and kind people. We truly love them. So thank you, the Peters. Lastly, I'll share a little bit about Melinda and Francisco Romero. Their nominators, the Campbells, wrote that Melinda and Francisco are always willing to lend a hand. They check in on us during power outages, they watered our garden when we were out of town, and they invited us over for Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners when they learned we don't have any relatives in Colorado. I've seen them take care of other neighbors as well. They truly believe that the building community means taking care of one another, and they don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk. So thank you, the Romeros. Lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge 3 individuals who were nominated for the award but have already been recognized as good neighbors. A heartfelt thank you to Virgil and Barbara Hall, and also Russ Johnson, for your continued dedication to making our community a better place to live. Thank you, Council. Yeah, right. No, it's fine. It's like perfectly lined up, honestly.
The mayor can Everybody ready? Okay, here we go. Say good neighbor. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, finally, this one's quick, but I had announced a couple weeks ago that the city was honored by the U.S. Conference of Mayors with a Sustainability Award, and I did not feel comfortable just taking a picture with council alone without inviting our sustainability coordinator, Mara Owen, up. She put in so much work because grant writing and award applications, they're really hard to write, and you worked really, really hard, and that's part of why we were able to be recognized. And so even though my name's on it, Mara gets the credit, so we're going to take a picture together.
Everybody except I can take my finger out. Okay, ready? Everybody smile. 1. You good? All right. Absolutely. Okay.
Okay, moving on. We are headed into the financial report. May 2025 update. Deputy City Manager Jason Loveland is here to present. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We'll tackle the slides here at the end, but I'll start off with Where we are through May on sales and use tax. So citywide, sales and use tax are down 2.5% compared to the prior, or compared to the same period last year. Last year at this time, we were up 3.3%, so being down a little bit definitely has our attention. Auto use tax is down 5.3%. Sales tax is down 2.6% when we get into that detail, yes.
I think we should move the slides along.
This conversation is not to the slides yet.
It's not on the
So I'm gonna
slides.
I'll go
Okay,
backwards.
just
as to
checking. I
not-
was like looking at the numbers on my screen
Yeah,
and there was
sorry.
nothing over there. No
Yep.
problem. Carry on.
So marijuana tax is down 11.3%, and then food tax, however, is a bright spot, and that's up 7.9%. So the numbers through this period definitely are reflecting continued economic pressures in certain sectors, modest growth on the essential goods, which we'll kind of just call the grocery area sector at this point. I'll move ahead to, we're going to circle back at the end to talk about the slides and
Perfect.
whatnot, so we'll tackle that a little bit more. So moving ahead to the general fund. General fund revenues are at 13.7 million, which is a decrease of almost 1% year over year. This is roughly $113,000 decrease from 2024. And you'll notice so this is on page 2 of the packet. You'll notice that property tax and fines for forfeiture revenues are up. Those are being offset by sales and use tax decreases. Intergovernmental revenue decreases, which we expected with the ARPA funding from last year, not happening this year. And then building permits and other permits lagging compared to the prior year. On the expenditure side, we spent $16.5 million, which is 40.5% of the budget for the annual appropriation. This level of spending is on track, being 5 of the 12 months through the year. We should be about 42%. And typically, we do find ourselves around the 40 to 42% range. So we're in line with our spending in the fund. Moving ahead to the water fund, revenues in the fund stand at $4.4 million. This is up 3.3% over the prior period. Most of this growth you'll see in investment earnings, and then 3.7% increase in consumption that we're seeing. Restricted revenues is down 3%. And then so that's restricted revenues for water resources, and then restricted revenue for debt service funded through the food tax is up, as I mentioned previously, almost 8%. Expenditures total $3.6 million, which is about 18.7% of the budget. A lot of that has to do with capital expenditures, which we haven't spent yet, but on the operating side, we're in line with budget forecast. Moving ahead to the wastewater fund, revenues have increased 8.7% to $2.4 million. That's in large part to increase in rates over the prior year, and then just in general, stronger investment earnings, and we have some increase in users with new development, specifically at Carl's Farm coming online. Expenditures are just under $1.5 million. Modest increase on the operating side of 2.4%, which is in line with the operational budget in the wastewater fund. Moving ahead to the stormwater fund, revenues remain essentially flat, up 0.3% over the prior year. Expenditures have increased fairly significantly due to capital outlay for a project of the evaluation of our stormwater system that we incurred during the first quarter of 2025. Moving ahead to the sanitation fund, fund. Revenues are down slightly. Expenditures are up a fair amount comparing year over year. That's due to receipt of vehicles that had been ordered in the previous year. So we will go back to the revenue information on the slides here in a second. I think there's definitely some revenue trends in certain tax areas that we're going to monitor and talk about a little bit more. Marijuana and auto-related taxes, definitely. But in across all funds, our spending is as expected within the planned budget for the year. I'm going to skip into the slides now. So taking a little bit of a look deeper into where we are on sales tax revenue performance. This first slide shows from 2008 through 2024 how sales tax revenue performed for an entire year. You can see there 2009 and 2020 were the only two times, thankfully, that we were down in sales tax on an ongoing basis. I think we all remember 2009. There was a Great Recession in progress, and then 2020, of course, the pandemic. So all other years, the city has shown growth in sales and use tax. So at this point through the year, through April, so I'm reporting on May, but this is through the first 4 months of collections, so January through April. This is actually the first time in that sequence of years, other than the 2 years that we had declines for the full year, that we've been down through the first 4 periods. So that will bring that'll bring more conversation as we're navigating the 2026 budget in the next couple of months. But just wanted to show this illustration of kind of where we typically are versus kind of what's happening this year. Kind of recap a little bit of what's driving the sales and use tax numbers that we're reporting. Groceries and restaurants are doing well. I think that there's probably an inflationary factor for people that are grocery shopping. We're all seeing that effect, but it's kind of those non-discretionary things that people are going to purchase. Clothing and electronics, any of those types of discretionary spending, home improvements, things like that. Those are all down within the city. Automobile taxes, so people aren't buying as many new cars as they had previously. The accommodations tax also lagging compared to last year, and then of course an ongoing situation with the marijuana tax. The marijuana tax is actually down about 25% from 2019. So I'd say that 2019 was probably the last pre-pandemic kind of surge in 2020 and 2021 that happened. But that's down about 25% from that period. So are seeing some pretty significant decreases in the local economy when it comes to sales and use tax. As we're planning forward for 2026 budget and kind of going through different assessments and whatnot, we are not expecting to see a big property tax change for this assessment year for 2026. We're expecting assessed values, which we'll find out the answer to not until August 25th, but we're expecting those to remain relatively flat. We will have some development coming online that will help hopefully not see a decrease in assessed valuations, but we'll know more in about 45 days. And then this is just general fund tax revenue, so this includes property tax, sales and use, building material use tax, and what have you. Just to show the 2024 budget versus what actually happened, we were a little bit behind the target there. of a budget of 29.5, and actually receiving 28.5 million. 25 budget, we did project we would see a slight decrease. So we had budgeted for $29 million. Revenue forecast is coming in now a little bit short at 28.2 million, which actually might be, it may be a little optimistic, the 28.2 number, depending on what we see in the next couple of months. And then in 2026, we provide that kind of longer term 5-year outlook each budget year, where we kind of do some forecasting. The estimate right now is at $31 million, and that includes the $3.5 million that's coming in from that 0.5% sales tax that was formerly used for the water fund. So at that time, last year at this time, we had estimated that revenue, if I have it here, to be about $33 million. So we're pretty far behind where we had expected to be. I think a large part of that is, it actually came in 2024. The second half of 2023 was one of the few periods of time where we saw a decrease in tax revenue. We had a pretty strong 2023 going through June. July through December was down, and we've kind of hung in that area after we had a solid start to 2024 again, and then just never have really rebounded very strongly. So just wanted to touch on that, and happy to answer any questions that you have on that. We skip to these slides, but they're all of the things that I'm generally commenting about. If we look at page 11 of the packet that shows the tax collected by geographic area, that lists everything, you can see that the taxes are down about 2.8% by geographic area. On that page, the first row is out of state, which is really considered our online sales. That's actually up almost 14% year over year. So there's spending happening. But if we take a look at the specific areas like the Marketplace or Mali or Washington Point and things like that, you're seeing pretty big decreases throughout the brick and mortar locations in the city. So if we exclude that top line for online sales, kind of the in-town businesses that you can think of that we have a sampling of listed there, those are down 6%. So not the best start to 2025 on the sales and use tax front. So anyway, I share all of that news, not wonderful news, but I just wanted to share that in a little bit more detail, especially as we're approaching budget and how these numbers are going to factor into kind of what we plan for and can budget for moving forward.
Yes.
Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Councilmember Kondo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, Director Loveland, I'm kind of curious, when we do our backwards-looking view, do we try to correlate, say, the revenue performance relative to major indices, whether it's the Consumer Price Index or the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment metric, just to kind of see if there is strong correlation, and if there is a way, I know it's hard, kind of with backwards-looking indicators, but a way to potentially divine or forecast what the future might bring?
So we do definitely attempt to do all of those things and factor in things that are more global, more of a national level, and then taking a look at like the Denver Metro CPI, as you mentioned. Right now, the CPI forecast in the Denver metro area to be about up 2.2%, which is behind what it has been, inflation, for the last bit of time. But then here locally, again, like I'm saying, we're not necessarily seeing that. And that sales tax tends to be a passive, well, it is passive, flow into the city. So when we see restaurants and groceries and an increase in that sales tax to the city, it's largely because my $10 hamburger is now 15, and people are still eating, which is wonderful. So we end up being a beneficiary of that. But other, like I said, discretionary spending on clothing and whatnot, people tend to back off of that if you're spending money on essentials. So we do try to look at the macro universe of elements that could drive, the revenue forecast. And as you can see there from this chart, fortunately or unfortunately, we don't have a lot of of instances where we have declined in sales and use tax revenue. So this is a pretty unique time in 2025 for us.
Gotcha, thank you. And then one other follow-up, and that is slide 11, the tax by geographic code. I just wanted to ask for clarification. Washington East, first time I've seen them actually in positive territory growth. And I'm just wondering, is that an artifact of the Murphy Station or perhaps the car wrap store? Are we seeing a lot of sales, say, for example, and I wonder if East Lake, same phenomena, if it's the Quick Trip and gasoline slash, I guess, convenience store sort of sales that's causing those folks to really start growth there?
Yeah, so Washington East is performing pretty well. There's a little bit of food included in there. Restaurants, Beltrans has had a positive impact, doing well. East Lake, I think that part of that, if you can see there, there's some of the new restaurants, Dutch Bros and Raising Cane's that are included in that. So as new things come online, we're seeing some adjustments. So those both have impact, and including specifically the fueling stations that you mentioned.
Gotcha, thank you.
Councilmember Jaramillo.
Thank you, Mayor Leidy, and thank you, Director Loveland. I had a few questions on page 18, since we're going to be doing budgeting soon. I wanted to, I know this is as of May, but I noticed for traffic calming and also school zone safety that there hasn't been too much spent that year to date, but that's May, so I'm sure there's going to be more happening now in the summertime and construction. Is that?
Yeah, both of those are going through the bid process now.
Okay.
Once we get those bids in and finalized contracts, that work will start.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd like to just know which projects are happening too, because I've been to the different wards and noticed, places where traffic calming could be, or school zone safety, such as flashing beacons for crossing and stuff, like simple stuff that I feel is pretty inexpensive, since as of May, we have plenty of funds. I just wanted to, make sure we're utilizing those funds here in the summertime when it's time to do the construction and stuff. And I know there's a definite need in every ward, but yeah, I just like to know what some of those projects are going to be, and where, and I could bring some, projects I feel that could get some light shed on them too. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Jason? No? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate the heads up on a lot of this information as we head into budget development for next year. And as always, I appreciate your attention to this matter. Thank you. Okay. Moving into communications, I will start with Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to say thank you to Tom Lampo for his wonderful words. Thank you to our officers and city staff. Not many city staff got the 4th off, so thank you for all your service and all your help. And then obviously a thank you to Chief Ramus for all his service to our community too. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Jaramillo.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I also want to thank staff, for taking the time, before, during the 4th of July celebration and afterwards. I understand how it is as staff to work those days. So I've been in their shoes before. But yeah, I attended the 4th of July celebration and judged the car show again with Mayor Leidy. It's awesome as always. It's always tough to judge because there are so many great vehicles out there. But I get inspired to hopefully fix up my 1970 Monte Carlo too, but it's expensive. So yeah, so the live music was awesome. I want to thank staff for booking them. They were great. Everybody had a great time. I saw people from as far as Evans, Colorado to, my cousins in Brighton came by too. So it was really cool, just to see, people coming to North Glen to celebrate. The fireworks show was awesome. We were blessed with some great weather, so thank goodness. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah, special thank you to our police department and North Metro Fire and Chief Ramus for his service, and congratulations to his retirement. And yeah, I give special recognition to them and for all they do to keep us safe. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Nowicki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Real quick, I just want to say thank you to the city staff, the police, and the residents that were at the 4th of July celebration, and all throughout North Glen. It seems like it was a pretty good night and good time for celebration, and everybody remained safe. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that came out and celebrated safely. That's all for me.
Thank you. Councilmember Goff.
Thank you, Mayor. So I have a couple of items that echo the same sentiments to say thank you to staff and also all the volunteers that came out to make 4th of July so successful. Farewell and congratulations not only to Chief Ramos, but also to our own Deputy Chief Darlin. And we wish them both all the best. Let's see. I did have a meeting today at 4 o'clock. It was very interesting with some group of people from Hawaii. One of our diversity board members has been looking into creating kind of a family resource kit that either the diversity board or the city might sponsor, and they have a very successful program in Hawaii. So we got to talk to these people about how they put that all together. So hopefully we'll get some more information as we are investigating into that possibility. And then the other thing is that this Thursday, July 17th, on the festival lawn out here, we'll have the free concert. It'll also be kind of our neighborhood nights for Ward 3. So I'm inviting all of North Glen, but especially Ward 3 residents to come out and talk to myself. And we'll have a couple of food trucks, live music from a band called The Rumors from 6:30 to 8, and then the movie Wicked will come after that. So hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
That's so fun. Councilmember Kondo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, I want to thank council and you, Madam Mayor, for the proclamation that we fatigued Chief Ramos with today. I do want to, for the public's benefit, recognize Chief Anderson, who is also in the audience, and his walk-off, kind of the fire line retirement, if you will, ceremony will be tomorrow at Station 61 at 8 a.m. for those people who may be interested. But not to undermine what Chief Ramos did, but Chief Anderson was actually the person on point for a lot of the infrastructure upgrade. So when you look at the improvements to Station 62 and 63, that has his fingerprints all over it. And then I'm happy to announce that with all these promotions, one of our very own Battalion Chief Matt O'Leary, also in the audience, he is the Bat Chief stationed out of Station 62, is going to be our new Operations Chief. In fact, he already is. So I think it just speaks volumes to North Glen being a wellspring of talent and leadership. And it's just, you heard it in some of the conversations about this being really a special city, and it truly is. Lastly, with the tragedy, obviously, in Hill Country in Texas, Colorado Task Force 1 has activated. North Metro has provided, I think, a handful, if not slightly more, number of frontline personnel, and they have been in Texas now for almost a week. And the amount of people that are going, they actually elevated it from a level 3 to a level 1 response. So there's almost 50 people from the state of Colorado there to help with the recovery effort, unfortunately. Not a rescue, but a recovery. And so thoughts or prayers are with those people. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Roper?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We've had a lot of exciting things going on over the past month. Feels like it's flown by. I did spend quite a bit of the past few weeks in New York City with my family, and nothing makes you appreciate your own city as much as going to another city. And just our community, our city, our police department, our staff, thank you. Thank you for all you do. It was a wonderful visit, but it's always good to be home. Councilmember Walker and myself attended the Bike to Work event, the Bike to Work Day event, and that was also the grand opening for our e-bike mobility hub and bike library. That was really amazing. Our partnership with Smart Commute, they're going to help run the facility, and they helped find funding for that, so that was really awesome. Also, if you haven't tried out our blender bikes at an event, those were incredible. I made a delicious smoothie. It's good. I also attended the volunteer picnic, and this was a wonderful event. Again, thank you to staff. You put on such a lovely and meaningful event. I said this then, but I'll say it again. Our volunteers are the heart of our city, and whether they're helping out with the police department or helping out with our flower beds, they're really such an important piece of our community. So that was a wonderful event. The food was delicious. We also had Parks and Rec board this week, and they were approving sound permits for the park. They were also looking at evaluating playbook as they have things that are completed out of their playbook, how they're going to highlight that so that we can start to see what has been completed. Also an update on the owl sculpture in Northwest Open Space. If anyone's been inquiring about it, it seems to have gone missing. It's not really missing. The base is being repaired, and the owl will be returning to its original position. Again, as Councilmember Goff said, concerts this year are going really well at Festival Lawn. We've really partnered with Anythink Library to really make it a more partnership to bring that library space into our concerts, so that's exciting. We also had Historic Preservation Commission. You heard from Eileen tonight. We interviewed her, and Historic Pres is also looking at evaluating their strategic plan and really updating it and making it so that now we're looking at projects that'll go till 2032, which seems like a long ways off, but it's right around the corner. Also, one thing that they're really going to be looking at doing is cataloging some of our assets, making sure that we have a good grasp on what it is we have as far as those historical items and how we're going to keep those safe. And with that, again, they are working on cataloging stories and just really preserving that legacy, and even looking at so many of the people who are on Historic Pres. Some of them have been on there for 30, 35 years, and when those people are gone, then we don't want their stories to disappear. So that is all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will start off by echoing all of the sentiments of gratitude that everybody has already expressed for staff on the 4th of July and not getting a day off, so that's very important to acknowledge. And of course, Chief Ramos and Chief Anderson, whose walk-off, as was mentioned, is tomorrow. So I'm very appreciative of everything North Metro is doing right now as well to aid, as was mentioned by Councilmember Condos. Thanks for bringing that up. Just because it is a tragedy, and I think we all need to take a second and recognize that. My heart does go out to all of those families that are suffering and trying to find their loved ones. In terms of things that have happened, I love the Hawaii connection because I was in Hawaii and just got back about a week ago. My husband is from Hawaii, so there's that connection. So there's really only two things that I have to report out on. I attended the NURA meeting last week, and we had the comprehensive budget audit update, which everybody received. So we just focused a little bit more on the NURA portion of that. And we reminded everyone to attend the July 21st executive session, joint executive session between NURA and council to discuss Washington Point. And then we approved the final payment for the Northglenn Marketplace improvements. So if you've been there recently, you may have noticed new signage, new wayfinding signage, new street signage. So that was the final portion of that was approved. And then I attended the farewell party for Deputy Chief Randall Darlin. It was very emotional. So many people had so many great things to say. And I just want to acknowledge, his service has been very valuable to the city, and I'm very appreciative of that. So it's kind of sad to see him go, but also pretty amazing that he's now the chief of Evans. So very, very awesome for him, but sad for us. But I'm sure we'll find a great replacement. We have a great chief and great leadership in place as well. And that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, I have a couple of things. I'm going to repeat a thank you about 4th of July simply because it is a large community event and it takes a large group of people to put it on. Northglenn Police Department, North Metro Fire District, they were there, they were present, they were engaged in the community. They did such a great job. I personally received emails and phone calls and direct moments on July 4th where someone would pull me aside and say, thank you so much. It feels so safe. It feels so calm. It feels so celebratory today. And so they definitely appreciated the presence. And we know that it's rough because nobody gets a day off. But we say that, and it's also an incredibly long day for staff. It's not just a working day for staff. It turns into a very long day between the setup, the full hosting of the event, and the takedown. It's exceptional. And I just want to extend that to staff because they do a great job. And also a shout out to the American Legion. They always show up and help us kick off the meaning of the event and the 21 gun salute. And they're just a lovely group of people, and I appreciate our partnership. And also, if you've never heard it, when Dotsero does the, is it the Star Spangled Banner, I think is what he does? Yes, I don't know. On the saxophone, it's so moving. It's so moving, the national anthem. It's beautiful. So thank you to all of that because it was such a wonderful event. A couple things. Oh, congratulations to Councilmember Kondo on your appointment. That's a big deal, and that is a significant leadership opportunity. So thank you for that. Congrats. A couple things. We will be hosting the Adams County Council of Governments dinner, ADCOG dinner, on July 23rd. That is all about regionalism. We love to bring our Adams County partners together to learn about what they're doing, to discuss what we're doing, and to strengthen that partnership. So Northglenn will be hosting. I'm excited about that. So a couple of things related to my role on the Metro Mayor's Caucus. So I've been on the executive committee for a bit. This year I serve as the second vice chair. That'll roll into vice chair and then chair after that. In that role, I've had two opportunities come my way. The first thing is Wednesday. I will be speaking on a panel, the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce, their State of the Cities event is a significant event, and I will be on a panel of 3 with Mayor Mike Kaufman from Aurora, Mayor Mike Johnston from Denver, and our sweet little Northglenn. So happy to represent, happy to be a part of that. Definitely representing cities our size, representing Northglenn and the amazing work that we're doing, but also in my capacity with the Metro Mayors. So also, they reached out. There is an annual event called the Leadership Exchange through the Denver Metro Chamber Leadership Foundation. And I just learned that Metro Mayors leadership is invited annually. I did not serve in a capacity that would allow me to go, but I was invited to be a delegate with the Leadership Exchange from September 22nd to September 26th. So I will be out that Monday. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. But also, I will be attending with the Executive Director of Civic Results, Heidi Williams, and our current chair of the Metro Mayor's Caucus, Guyleen Castriota from Broomfield. So the three of us will be traveling. I did need to ask because I did not have all the funds I needed, and so per protocol, I did reach out to Councilmember Roper. She had not spent her funds yet, and so she is willing to loan those to me so that I can attend and serve in this way. I did also learn that it will be an annual opportunity, so I will get to go as first vice chair, and then when the chair goes, it's a little less expensive because that is paid for by the Denver Chamber. So just wanted to let you know that we're doing that, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity. And all things that come with the regional collaboration with the Metro Mayors. All right, any questions about that? Okay, awesome. City Clerk Small, do you have any updates?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have one quick announcement. It's a repeat announcement that the City Clerk's office currently has information packets, which include a candidate guide for the November 4th election this year. Anybody is welcome to pick them up in our office or to access the information online. In addition, the City Clerk's office will have a tent at all of the Neighborhood Nights events. We will have copies of the candidate packet there, as well as information about registering to vote, making sure individuals verify their mailing address, and then also to provide some info about why it's important for everybody to participate in local elections. So I would encourage everybody to find our booth, stop by, and see what we've got to offer. And that's all I have. Thank you.
City Manager Guyer.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. One update for you this evening, included in the weekly report, but I'll draw attention to it for the public's benefit as well. With the departure of Deputy Chief Randy Darling, Chief May has promoted in an acting role Commander Peter Rice to Deputy Chief for an interim period of time, and that posting was done externally today. So more information will be forthcoming as those processes move forward and other assignments are filled as a result of the vacancy. Thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney Hoffman.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. Just one quick item for me. In the audience tonight, you will see a gentleman on the right, Zach Zalesny. He is an extern and law clerk with my office. He's a law student at Lewis and Clark University in Portland. And as I've often said to you, I think North Glen is a great example of good governance, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to see that good governance at work. So that's why he's here tonight.
Awesome. Nice to meet you. Okay, moving forward, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, I'm the slow one today. All right, please vote.
I will close that vote, and the consent agenda passes unanimously.
Okay. Moving on to the Marijuana Licensing Authority, I will now recess the regular City Council meeting and call to order a meeting of the Marijuana Licensing Authority. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Leidy?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Luke Manjero-Massa? Here. Councilmember Burns is absent. Councilmember Jaramillo?
Here.
Councilmember Kondo?
Here.
Councilmember Roper? Here. Councilmember Goff?
Here.
Councilmember Nowicki?
Here.
Councilmember Walker?
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June 9th, 2025 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Please open the vote.
The vote is open. I will close that vote, and the June 9th meeting minutes are approved unanimously.
Excellent. Okay, so thank you for your patience as I read my full script for the Marijuana Licensing Authority work we're doing tonight. I will now open the public hearing on the annual renewal application filed by Fresh Organic LLC, doing business as Fresh Cannabis. Northglenn City Council, in its capacity as the local marijuana licensing authority, has jurisdiction to conduct this hearing under the Marijuana Code found at Title 44, Article 10 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, and under the provisions of the city's municipal code. The procedure to be followed in this case will be as follows. The prosecuting attorney will be provided an opportunity to make an opening statement on behalf of the city. The licensee or licensee's counsel will have an opportunity to make an opening statement. The prosecuting attorney will then present the city's case by introducing evidence and calling any witnesses to provide testimony. At the conclusion of the prosecutor's presentation, the licensee or the licensee's legal counsel may present evidence relating to the matter and call witnesses to provide testimony in support of the application for renewal. All witnesses will be placed under oath by the city clerk. Witnesses may be cross-examined by any party, counsel for any party, or members of the authority. Are there any objections to the jurisdiction of the authority or to the form or substance of these proceedings? Great. Staff will now present the application to the authority. City Clerk Small, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff has a short presentation to walk through. Okay, and I am filling in for Deputy City Clerk Lisa Andrews tonight. So the annual renewal application was filed by Fresh Organic, doing business as Fresh Cannabis, for the property at 11450 Cherokee Street, units A4 through A7. Their property lease expired on February 28th of this year. They have both medical and retail marijuana business licenses, and the licenses expired February 16th of 2025. So the criteria that staff uses for consideration when renewal applications are submitted include that the licensee is required to maintain possession of the premises for which the marijuana business is licensed, and that is by ownership, lease, rental, or other agreement for possession of the premises. So City Council, acting as the authority, may, after a notice and hearing, suspend, revoke, or refuse to renew a license for good cause, and that good cause may include the failure of a licensee to maintain legal possession of the licensed premises. Because of the information that was submitted for the license renewal applications, staff believes that Fresh Organic is not in compliance with state statutes, and that is because the property lease at 11450 Cherokee Street for units A4 through A7 expired on February 28th, 2025. So therefore, staff could not administratively renew that renewal application. So there are two options for the licenses. Fresh Organic may surrender the license, or the authority must render a decision on the pending application for renewal. And if non-renewal is a potential outcome, the authority must conduct a hearing on the matter to give the licensee an opportunity to present testimony. So to just walk through the administrative findings of staff, upon expiration of the property lease, staff communicated with the licensee and they declined to surrender those licenses. The authority, as you'll recall, issued a notice of hearing on the renewal on May 12th. The notice was issued to Fresh Organic and posted on the premises on Cherokee Street. And then also the hearing was originally scheduled for June 9th. However, the licensee asked for a continuance. There was no objection, and so that continuance was granted to tonight, July 14th. So for the public hearing at tonight's meeting, Jennifer Madsen has been retained as a special prosecutor to represent the city. And Prosecutor Madsen will present evidence regarding a potential basis for non-renewal. The city attorney will represent the authority. Fresh Organic, as the licensee, has the opportunity to provide sworn testimony and to also present evidence in support of its position to ask for those licenses to be renewed. And then at the conclusion of a hearing, the authority needs to determine if there is good cause for non-renewal of the medical and retail business licenses. So the authority has two options. After a hearing is conducted, the authority may approve the application for renewal, and a motion would be required to direct the city attorney to prepare that resolution. Or the authority can find good cause for non-renewal, and a motion directing the city attorney is also required for that. Any draft resolution will be brought back and presented on July 28th for the authority's consideration. And before staff takes any questions, City Attorney Hoffman would like to make some remarks to the authority.
Good evening, members of the authority. So we learned late this afternoon that no one from the licensee will appear. So they reached out at 11:52 this morning to indicate that they would not appear. They asked what their options were, but did not file either make a verbal motion for a continuance, nor did they file a written motion for continuance. Since this matter has already been continued once and they did not make any sort of request for a continuance, my recommendation would be that you do proceed forward with the hearing. It will certainly be abbreviated. There's no need for opening statements, and Ms. Madsen is prepared to make a brief kind of entry of evidence, so you will have the evidence in the record you need to make an appropriate decision.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So, do we need to administer the oath? No, because it's, yeah.
The only reason you would need to administer any oath is if there's anyone in the audience that would want to participate in the public hearing, and I don't believe there is, but
Maybe.
one
No?
never
Okay.
knows.
Great. All right, well, Prosecutor Madsen, you may proceed. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Madsen, and it's my pleasure to serve as the special prosecutor this evening for the City of North Glen in this marijuana licensing matter. I would like to request as a preliminary matter that there's specific documents that would be admitted into your public hearing record, and these documents were provided to you in the packet for this evening. That is the cover memorandum prepared by the city clerk, the letter dated May 16, 2025 regarding the notice of hearing on non-renewal, that notice of hearing on non-renewal, the marijuana business license renewal application completed by the licensee, the assignment of lease agreement, the lease agreement, and the presentation by the city clerk regarding this renewal application. That's a total of 62 pages that was in the packet. Related to the evidence here, members of the authority, I direct your attention to key documents that were in the packet entered into the record, and that is the renewal application submitted on December 30th, 2024, that identifies the licensed premises as 11450 Cherokee Street. That's in page 6 of your packet. On that same application, it indicates that the lease expired on February 28th of 2025. That lease is the documentation that provided legal possession to the premises. There is an assignment of lease dated February 1 of 2024, and it confirms in paragraph 3 that the lease terminated on February 28th of 2025. That was on page 8 of your packet. The lease agreement, paragraph 13.2, speaks to holdover and provides that unless the landlord consents to a holdover of the premises, that is unlawful detainer of the property. That's on page 34. And then paragraph 13.10 of the lease further provides that any such consent to holdover by the landlord must be in writing and properly delivered personally or via certified or registered mail to the tenant. That's in page 35. As of today's date, there has been no written consent or extension of the lease or any other written document regarding legal possession of the licensed premises that has been submitted to the city. I can provide a brief closing argument if you would like.
Yes.
So in closing, the record, all the documents show that Fresh Organic did not have legal possession of its licensed premises at 11450 Cherokee Street as of February 28, 2025. Continuous legal possession is a mandatory condition for licensure under CRS 4410-313-8B, and the licensee's failure of legal possession to the premise is undisputed and ongoing. Accordingly, the city respectfully requests that the Marijuana Licensing Authority deny renewal of both marijuana licenses for this good cause shown.
Great, thank you. Members of the authority, does anyone have any questions or comments? Councilmember Walker?
Thank you, Ms. Madsen. Thanks for being here. My question for you is for you, City Attorney Hoffman. 2 questions. What was our response to their email at 11:52 today?
We called them. Okay. The city clerk's office called, and but they did not, in the telephone call, ask for a continuance either.
Okay. So I guess my asking, that they were asking for options isn't an argument saying that they didn't understand their rights and what to do.
No, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other comments from council? No? Okay. Hearing nothing further, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion to direct City Attorney Hoffman to draft a resolution either approving the application for renewal or finding good cause for non-renewal of the marijuana business licenses. Go ahead.
I move to direct City Attorney Hoffman to draft a resolution finding good cause for non-renewal regarding the application submitted by Fresh Organics LLC doing business as Fresh Cannabis.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? No? Okay, well, I will just add that I appreciate all the details, all the information, all the documents that we have, but also Councilmember Walker's clarification. I think that was very helpful as well. I think for me, the lack of attendance is a huge piece of it. So I'm ready to move forward in that direction. Any other comments? Okay. Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I will close that vote, and the motion as stated by the authority passes unanimously.
Thank you. I will now adjourn the meeting of the Marijuana Licensing Authority and reconvene the regular City Council meeting. The discussion item tonight is City Council Quarterly Agenda Planning. City Manager Guyer will present this item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This evening, we're going to walk through the quarterly agendas to date. As you all know, this is an opportunity for you to provide me with feedback on the schedule as it sits today on the tentative future agenda document, and ask any questions and offer any feedback. We're going to look through agendas through October 13th. That'll be the next date that I come back before you and provide you the agendas through year end. It is really hard to believe. I just have to acknowledge that we're at a midway point through the year. Time is flying by. So we're going to review meeting cancellations, and then I do have one item to seek clarification from council on this evening. So we are here tonight. I'll be back in front of you on the 13th We do have one meeting cancellation, which is Labor Day on September 1st. No plans to utilize any fifth Mondays between now and that point in time. So I believe there's a fifth Monday in September, which will be a night off. So items to highlight this evening include the July 21st study session, which has been mentioned this evening. There is a special executive session component to that meeting in partnership with NURA to go over the Washington Point redevelopment work that is underway. The public-facing portion of that meeting will be for a presentation on a housing study required by DRCOG per state legislation. On July 28th, the one discussion item that I have scheduled thus far is I'm combining entryway signage with the wayfinding and banner program into one initial discussion in order to receive council feedback. And so that is the one item scheduled for that night. On August 4th, we do have that evening as well as August 18th slated for budget discussions. I will be working with the mayor and Deputy City Manager Loveland this week to tee up the budget conversation on August 4th. As you heard this evening, we have seen decreased revenue, and so we are in the process of putting together a strategy for what that conversation will look like on August 4th. We are talking about potentially hosting a budget retreat in the community rooms that night, so more to come on that meeting. On August 11th, we'll have a crew update, and then we're trying to keep this session light because this is the evening that council conducts my performance review. That review timeline was included in the executive session portion of your materials this evening, and so if you have any questions, we can talk more about that later on this evening. On October 18th, this is the evening that we typically set aside for the CIP discussion. And then there's also the debrief on my performance review scheduled for that night as well. Moving into late August, we'll have an introduction of our incoming Fire Chief Mark Doherty on August 25th. On September 8th, we do need to have the proposed 2026 budget presented publicly before September 20th, so that is slated for that meeting. Right now, September 15th, I have 2 strategic plan related items, the first being an internal innovation team, which I've done some work around, and then the future proofing item that's included in the strategic plan as well. Certainly subject to change based on if we need additional meeting time for 2026 budget, but that's where we're headed right now. And then on September 22nd, we'll have a public hearing on the 2026 proposed budget. As of today, October 6th is open. But I'm sure by the time I get through staff meeting tomorrow at leadership team, we'll probably have a few items for this meeting. So that TBD will change this week. And then on October 13th, we have scheduled the budget for adoption earlier, given the upcoming election. And then we'll have an executive session for one of my quarterly performance check-ins. Any questions on this slide and the previous slide with any of the items? There's quite a bit on the back under TBD in terms of regional projects that I'm waiting for guidance from Adams County on. And so know that we're keeping a pulse on all of those items. One item that I did want to get clarification and further guidance on is the deeper dive into boards and commissions. This item has been under the TBD for some time, and I wanted to check in with council and see if this is something that you'd like to see come back to you in 2025. Is this something that could be looked at in 2026? Is there anything specific beyond recruitment, recognition, and diversity and compensation that they're looking for in terms of taking this deeper dive into boards and commissions. As of now, City Clerk Small and I will tee up this item, but certainly any guidance that you have would be helpful. Anything you want to know about or.
Okay, Councilmember Goff?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Manager Guyer. My question, I have a question, which is, do we have outstanding openings on any of the boards and commissions, or do you have any idea how many of them?
Off the top of my head, I do not know. City Clerk Small, do you happen to know that information at your fingertips?
We do. I'm just looking on the website. We have some vacancies on the Liquor Licensing Authority, on the Vale Board, the Youth Commission, of course, and then the Election Commission, and the Community Co-Production Policing Advisory Board, and the Citizens Affairs Board.
That's quite a few.
That was a run-on
So
sentence.
at the previous, I think the last Ward 3 meeting, I had requested for staff, and they did a great job of presenting like a handout that said what positions were open for the ward. And I just was thinking that might be a good idea to do for each of the ward meetings, you know, because I think for some people, residents out there, they might be interested, but then, you know, I don't know how many times I have people say, I don't know what ward I'm in. Or, you know, there's just some confusion about what they would be eligible for. So I just would make that suggestion. Otherwise, I don't really have any other comments on if we want to look at this now or later. I mean, I don't know. Seems like we need to at some point.
I don't see any other hands. I saw some nodding to Councilmember Goff's idea.
Okay, great. We can definitely tee those up
Okay.
for neighborhood nights. Is that,
I don't know if you'll have time for this Thursday, but
I think we made that document in-house, but maybe.
yes, I think so too. Thank you.
Councilmember, oh, did you want to add something? No? Okay. Councilmember Jaramillo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Is this a good time to address those questions I had about, the traffic calming, school zone safety, citywide street lighting, stuff like that? Is that a good time to address that since other similar topics on previous slides? Is that a good time or?
I think it depends. You certainly, if there are asks that you have of staff and you want to get council consensus, those items that you mentioned are not currently scheduled for a presentation. So one of two pathways forward, you can request council consensus for me to bring back information. I can also, a second pathway is to email information to council. The traffic calming, I do want to step back. Traffic calming is on the TBD list, and I checked in with Director Borgers last week, and I'm going to look over at Jason. I think she's working on no date yet of when she wants to bring that back yet, but we did talk about that in last week's leadership team meeting. So I can certainly incorporate update on school zone improvements with that presentation.
Great. Yeah, I was going down the line of the budget, and the last one I mentioned was the citywide street lighting. That's something I've been hoping to accomplish in my time on council, especially in the west section of Ward 2, which is essentially the patio homes, and basically 117th, just west of Washington. That's been a constant issue for years, and I'm looking at the project updates online for municipal parks, private, and public works, and just wanted to know what's that looking like, because try to work with Excel. I haven't really heard much, so I was wondering if there's anything in the workings for that.
For
Yeah.
residential street lighting or for
citywide
park
street lighting.
projects?
Citywide street lighting.
Okay. We had a study completed. I believe Deputy City Manager Loveland, how would you want to handle that? Would you want to bring that as a separate study session item? If council directs us to do that, or incorporate it in 2026 budget conversations?
So I'll follow up this week, and I think there might be an opportunity to send council an email update on kind of where some of these things are. I think the street lighting is part of the 2026 strategic plan. So I know that, as City Manager Guyer mentioned, we do have the report and the study, and now it's just prioritizing certain locations and identifying dollars and resources to put towards specifically like the street lighting piece. But that's something that we can get an email update out to council to kind of let you know where those things sit. I will say on the engineering side, we've had some turnover in some positions, and so we're doing some recruitments and things like that now to kind of get our feet under us, if you will, for the last several months. So some of those things are probably behind schedule as compared to what would otherwise have been expected.
Right, and as I mentioned before, right now is a lot of time to do construction. It's, we have, the perfect weather for it now, but that brings me to residential street program. We have a really big issue on Irma. That's, it's been quite a few Band-Aids over it, but it's still the street is very subpar, and I'd like to.
Are you talking about the patches south of Malley?
Correct.
Thank you, Councilmember Jaramillo. So that's going to be a separate issue, not included in our annual residential street program. So we can certainly provide council with information. I want to say that's out to bid as well as we speak. But we can get clarification on that. The issue with the patching of the roadway is related to the force main work that was done a couple years ago, and some issues we're having with the asphalt. So that is a conversation that staff's working on with the city attorney, and that'll be forthcoming.
Okay, great. And
But it won't be resolved by investing additional monies and doing an overlay. That's a separate issue.
Okay, and the overlay, can we do that in-house, or is that?
Residential street overlay, no, we do not have the capability of doing that work in-house. We always contract out that work, so I want to say that contract is out for bid, and so I don't have a list of the streets that are identified based on the PCI rating. That is all subject to change based on the amount of the bid that comes in. And then staff needs to make sure we can fund the streets. And so sometimes we can add additional streets. Sometimes we have to, based on the available funding, we have to move a street out a year. But that process is taking place right now. So we can provide you with that information.
Okay. And lastly,
That contract has to come to council for approval.
Okay.
Based on the amount.
Great. And lastly, the citywide fence. I noticed last week for the NERA projects, they had 112th. I'm assuming that what it lined Washington and 112th would be the citywide fence. Is 112th included in those plans, or is it only Washington for the citywide fence?
I will have to follow up with you. I apologize. I don't have the answer off the top of my head. I believe this year is maintenance only included in the CIP budget, but we can follow up with an email as to the specific location.
Great, thank you. Appreciate all the info. Thanks.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So I'm looking at the current agenda item. Are you taking things from your notes? Like, would it be helpful to review the strategic plan And the pacing that we've already decided on?
Well, I'm just looking at the project updates online, and I didn't see them mentioned. And then we looked at the budget, and as of May, I just want to know the update since we are already in July. And since
Okay.
we're talking about clarification of scheduling, want to know where, if we can put this,
Okay.
bring this up before election time or anything comes up, you know, before the 2025 is over. Want to
Okay,
Just
I
wanna-
think, so this conversation that we have with City Manager Guyer on a quarterly basis is to have us all work together to look at the tentative future agendas. And so if you go into the packet, if you have any questions about moving those things around, I guess I'm trying to find your topics in this presentation.
Yeah, if you go back a couple slides, I feel like it was more.
Okay,
So the only piece that Councilmember Jaramillo brought up that is on the tentative future agendas under TBD is the traffic calming. And I can easily follow up with Director Borgers tomorrow and get a date.
Okay.
It just has not been scheduled yet. I talked to her, Jason and I did in leadership team last week, knowing that council, that I was going to have this conversation with council and council would be interested in that topic. So what I'll do is I'll add school zone improvements as an update with that conversation. And then I can follow up per Deputy City Manager Loveland's recommendation, street lighting via email, as well as fencing along Washington via email. Does that sound like a plan?
I think that makes sense. Yeah,
Sounds
That
good.
works.
Just since they weren't scheduled is why I was asking.
got it, okay,
Yeah, thank
perfect.
you.
Because some of the things, like the fencing program, I was like, we're not going to do that right now, so
Well,
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it was clarification because last week we had the NURA map,
Mm-hmm.
and then it had Washington listed like with little circles going up it, and then 112th. So I was,
Oh,
because that's a
okay.
question that I had just from when I was reviewing.
Got it,
Yeah,
okay,
so, thank you.
okay. Councilmember Kondo?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I suppose this is a question for Legislative Committee. Any clairvoyance as to whether there will be a special session, and maybe if there's anything that comes out of that might cause us to have to adjust maybe what's on our docket?
Wish I could see, but no.
Okay. All right. I figured that is something to kind of think about, but thank you for verifying.
Mayor Pro Tem? There you go.
Sorry. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Actually, I was just going to respond to the slide that was up there in terms of the feedback that the city manager wanted for the deeper dive into boards and commissions and the timeline. So getting back to that, looking forward to that discussion. In terms of the timeline, as Councilmember Goff mentioned, it should happen, but I don't know that it needs to happen so fast. I would like for it to happen faster, but I'm looking at the schedule, and we've got budget all the way through October, and then the holidays hit. So I'm just, like, my input is I'd be okay pushing that out to 2026. And I would also like to throw out there that Director Dixon, who moderated the panel on empowered civic voices, and we really targeted those areas of recruitment and diversity. So looking forward to whether her input would be a part of that or not, but there were some really great ideas thrown out there by, council members from Aurora and Lafayette, as well as just ideas in general. So just a
Great.
thought
Yeah,
for
I
that.
think that's a natural synergy.
Yeah, she did such an amazing job moderating. I'm sure the wheels were spinning with great ideas on how to kind of hit all those points. But the topic areas look great to me. I think it covers everything that I can think of.
Perfect.
That's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Roper?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thought I'd put my hand back up since we're back to this one. I think especially if we push this to 26, and just for those council members who may be new at that point, giving a brief synopsis or history on why each of the boards was created, like what moment in time created that, I think that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I totally agree with that. I love that idea. As I look, so we added these quarterly discussions around the schedule so that everyone sort of had a heads up and could take part in deciding. But at the end of the day, staff is juggling a lot, and you're moving around some significant pieces to make it all fit. And so some of this is really up to you, not up to us. When I look at what's coming up, I think, there's space on August 25th for business, and I'm sure something's going to come up and you're going to place it there, right? And we're not going to be bored. I'm not worried about that. We're going to have nice full meetings where we get a lot of work done. But I would say lean on the leadership team to juggle it all around and, get to it when you can.
Okay.
I do agree with the boards and commissions possibly pushing it until after a new council is elected.
We can do that.
Yeah. And some of these other things, I'm sure, are just based on schedule and who's available. So it'll all get filled in. Did you have something else? Nope, I just didn't put your hand down. Okay, great.
Great,
Thank you. All right, public invited to be heard. This is an opportunity for public comment. Statements are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments must be related to an item previously addressed by council during the meeting. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to council? Come on up. Please state your name and address or ward and provide your comments to council.
Thank you, Council. My name is Ian Miller. I am at 10461 Pennsylvania Street. I just moved into Ward 1. I wanted to bounce back to the fact that there's an empty spot on the Citizens Affairs Board. I did a little bit of work in Citizens Affairs in Jefferson County when I lived there very briefly, and I'd love to offer my services to that end. I think I applied online, but I didn't know who to talk to make sure that got through. So I thought I'd bring it up here. Thank you all very, very much.
I think we have a gentleman on cab right back there.
Amazing. I'll go bug him. Thanks, y'all.
Make a connection before you leave. Excellent. Anybody else? No? Well, thank you. I will entertain a motion that the City Council hold an executive session pursuant to Section 4.5A of the City of North Glen Home Rule Charter for personnel matters regarding a city manager performance check-in.
Motion is so stated.
Seconded.
Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Please vote.
I will close that vote, and the motion to meet in executive session passes unanimously.
Thank you. We will adjourn to the executive session.